I guess coming back to always wanting to, always knew that there was something else for me. I think I've really aligned with that now, and I know that I'm very much focused on being a positive role model and leader, and really passionate about being able to inspire change within people, whether it's a small little change or it is a massive change. Like I've transformed myself. So to another level.
All right, welcome, Luke. My name, for those of you who are tuning in right now, is Callum Holt. I work as head of operations with Luke Hawkins, and this is his podcast. And yeah, welcome, Luke, to I have to point that way; it's like mirrored. To this podcast. Thanks, mate, for jumping on.
Thanks, mate. We're just hijacking Luke's platform. I like it.
pretty much. So yeah, mate, I want to, as I mentioned during the little pre-note thing there, I want to chat to you because you've been having a lot of success. I'm sure you had a lot of success before you came on board with Luke, but you've been having a lot of success with things that we've been teaching and with your business and your coaching. And yeah, I really wanted to kind of have a chat to you about your background and struggles that you kind of had as well, and the learnings and how you overcame them, everything like that, along with strategies that you're using now to hopefully really give some value to people as well in the coaching industry, some implementables.
Yeah, for sure.
Word, but I'm going to call it.
That'll do.
Yeah. So, man, tell us like your background. Tell us a bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah. Well, my father, which going back a little while ago, I wouldn't have thought of. So yeah, within sort of the last 12 months, really launching my coaching business, having an 8-month-old daughter now, and everything else that's going on. It's been very, very different, but I guess my background for a long time, I had no idea what I wanted to do and sort of jump between whether it was laboring or sales or whatever it was. And I always knew that there was just something else that I wanted to be able to do. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted the freedom as well that came with that. It's a very big value of mine. But I throughout that journey in working in sales, I was sales managing. I experienced a lot of mental health issues myself personally. So I was battling a gambling addiction from the age of 17, 18. I was sort of going in and out of bouts of depression and anxiety and really struggling with my mental health. And then identified that it was something that I was really passionate about, being able to I guess, speak to mainly other men, to encourage them to be able to open up. I thought that, by me doing that, it would be able to help inspire. So I started getting into public speaking really, and didn't really know where it was going to take me, but ended up going mostly around the country, and into some pretty big organizations to just share my story and share some strategies that had helped me. But even at that point, like I was still, heavily struggling up and down within myself, and really began to find the balance and the strategies that work for me. Pretty much from working with Luke, and it really gave me the tools to be able to release a lot of my past traumas and things, limiting beliefs as well, and gave me the confidence to really move forward. And I've now really got the confidence to be able to help other people, because one, I've got the capacity to hold space for them, but also the actual skills to be able to create change. So that's a very quick, I guess, little intro into who I am. But yeah, I guess coming back to always wanting to, always knew that there was something else for me. I think I've really aligned with that now, and I know that I'm very much focused on being a positive role model and leader, and really passionate about being able to inspire change within people, whether it's a small little change or it is a massive change. Like I've transformed myself. So yeah.
So were you coaching? I'm just trying to remember to work out the order of operations here. Were you coaching before you came on board with Luke, or just kind of doing the public speaking with organizations around, or?
Yeah, so I was running a business where I was pretty much doing the speaking and running lived experience training, I guess, and taking strategies that have worked, but not coaching as such. It was more group or in corporate settings, organizations, and then running on the side of that accredited mental health first aid training. So there was, that business was around for maybe a year and a half, running that. And then, once the in-person trainings were difficult to be able to do so with what we're experiencing, I sort of then started to transition into online stuff. I then went and got an accreditation in breathwork. So it's something I was really passionate about, something that helped me personally. And I started coaching breathwork. So I'd had a few clients just focusing in on breathwork, but then I think that's what really led me into the neurotransformation therapy, because I was with a lot of the breathwork stuff that I was doing. I was very passionate about being able to heal and release trauma. So through breathwork, I had group settings where it was bringing up a lot for people, but then I was kind of like, whoa, what do I do now? So I was kind of stuck there for a while, like bringing this up for people, and then going, you need to go see someone now.
So what got you into breath work? Like I've kind of done a little bit of that stuff, and it can be pretty interesting.
Firstly, it was Wim Hof. So just loved the man and loved really how crazy he was, but how strong he was in his message. And it's simple practices. And I think I really connected with that because I'd struggled so much myself through the system, and didn't believe in medication personally for me. And I just loved the natural ways of being able to breathe, cold exposure, working on your mindset and connecting with nature. Like, it was such simple fundamentals. So that was initially what got me into it. And it's, if you've ever done the Wim Hof method, or anyone listening that has, it's quite a powerful experience. And I thought that all breath work was like that. So when I went and I actually wanted to be a Wim Hof instructor, but you had to fly to Poland and I couldn't get over there. So that's kind of on hold at the moment. So I just went and I did a course through the Whole Health Project, and it was an amazing course because it taught me a lot more around the anatomy, physiology, and a lot more, different breaths, but a lot of breathwork practices to focus on stress management and reducing anxiety. So that's where I kind of found a niche and helping people with that initially. But then I started to look into a lot more of the, I guess, circular breathing or shamanic style. So a lot of holotropic breath work and the neurodynamic breath work, and these really, really deep, powerful, long styles. So all forms I absolutely love, but it's just amazing how much we can unlock and shift states just from changing a pattern of breathing. It's incredible.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's interesting you talk about that, because it's for me, when I was younger, like in primary school, I had really big challenges with we'll call it emotional regulation. Which is probably a long kind of word for, I'd get, like, out of the blue, I'd get really angry, and, like, kind of primary schoolish, like, young Callum, just like breaking things and breaking windows and throwing chairs. And, I was a bit of out of the blue, like no obvious kind of triggers. Someone would just say something and I'd just be like, I'd just like lose it. And I actually I call it like anger management classes, but a guy came to our school and worked with a bunch of us boys. And yet one of the things that he taught us, and I still remember it, is that, like, I'm sure there's a lot more to it, but just the kind of like deep belly breathing, and actually just focusing on like like closing your eyes and taking like 10 deep breaths, like in, holding, out, holding, like the box breathing. And focusing on, like, he'd literally get us to like put our hands on our belly and like make sure that you're actually like pushing your belly out. And then when you breathe out, that your belly's going in and you're actually moving like your diaphragm in and out.
100%, man. It's the simplest thing. And that's like, it's the simplest way to be able to change state. So a lot of people will be in fight or flight and in that sympathetic nervous system without realizing it, breathing so high up in the chest and those short breaths. As you said, just like closing your eyes and 10 breaths where it's just full in, full out, or really slowing down that exhale. Doesn't take long, and you shift into the calm and steady state.
Yeah, 100%. I know that for my own life, it's been a really big thing. And then I was doing yoga a lot for a period of time. And at the end of our yoga practice, we'd do, I think they called it fire breathing. But, same kind of thing with your belly, but doing it like a lot faster.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's more biology to this, but I always remember after you do this fire breathing thing, they call it, and then you like lay down like on your back, and you feel like you've taken something illegal. Like,
well, it can release DMT. Like it's pretty remarkable. We'll set aside an hour and I'll put you through an intense session soon.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you need to, take the inner circle through a session.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Do that and see what comes up, and then there's plenty of people there that will be able to help people with whatever comes up. That's for sure.
100%. So So then you did from there. How'd you hear of Luke and NTT?
Through Georgie Thomas. So my partner's a photographer, and she was actually friends with Georgie and shoots for Georgie. So I guess we can take some of the credit for Georgie getting so much of her business with her amazing photography. But it's known her for a few years, and just through conversation, I think it was around that time where I was kind of looking for something else to be able to add into, I guess, my arsenal. And it was just recommended that I should look into the neurotransformation therapy, and Georgia connected me with Luke, had a chat, and there we were. It just made complete sense for me in what I wanted to be able to help people with.
Yeah. Cool. And so you did neurotransformation therapy. Off the back of that, did you immediately get clients, or what was your thing?
Yeah, well, I actually had clients before I finished, because I'd already gone through the manuals online, so I had a fair understanding of it, and I'd book clients in for when I was about to finish the training. I'd already had a couple before finishing, and then I just had so much more confidence once I'd finished, because it wasn't just that I had the information then, but I'd felt the transformation within myself. So I think that was the most powerful thing, and really believing in what I was then teaching. And that was the biggest shift. So I just had so much more confidence to go out there and get clients, because I could just speak from my own experience as well as what I could help them with.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's something I've always talked about it, like in sales, is like, I learned this first in MLM, is like being a product of the product. And like, can you sell things that you don't believe in? Yeah, you can, of course.
Yeah.
But I tell you, it is so much easier if you've had a real like emotional changing experience.
For sure.
From using, whatever the product or service is.
For sure. I feel like, obviously going through that and experiencing at the time within myself gave me the belief and confidence in then what I was offering. But even to today, it allows me to be more conscious in my behaviors. And if I'm acting like a dickhead, or if I'm overreactive, or if I'm reacting to things, getting caught up in things, isolating, behaviors that normally I'd be so unaware of and that would just happen on a daily occurrence, like I can catch it now and be aware of it. And it holds, like, my daily standards have lifted, because it allows me to really focus in on it and practice what I preach. And it's not always perfect, but I think it's been a massive impact, not just at the time, but every single day if I'm teaching this, I've got to live it as well. So,
yeah, that's right. I'm interested by, because I've actually had this question a couple of times recently. How did you go about, like, we'll call it like pre-selling? people into neurotransformation therapy, when you're doing the modules or whatever, and then you're like, yep, I'm getting the idea of this. How did you go about actually, generating those leads, so to speak, and or closing them into a program that you didn't have any experience in, like you hadn't
Good
taken
question.
any time through?
Good
You
question.
know what I mean?
I think I know the answer, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, because this is the question that people would have.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'd been doing, because I'd been in that space where I was very open about my own journey, experiences, challenges. Like that was the content that I'd been posting for a long time. So I'd already attracted people that kind of not necessarily believed in my story, but related to what I was experiencing. So I think I'd still had people reaching out the whole time, like the last probably 4 or 5 years, I've had people reaching out to me. But back then it was more like I'd jump, like I might have a phone call with them and just listen. And that was the way that I could support. So I guess that's transitioned into like, there was points there I was like, oh, you just need to go see a GP. And it's like, man, what was I doing? Like, this is not going to get the help. Anyway, it transitioned. So I think once I'd started learning the manuals, I'd actually identified, discovery call, what I was going to say within the discovery call. And I had a very good idea of what my 6-week one-on-one program was going to involve. I was able to kind of just roll through that and just look, I've got availability starting, and just put it a little bit in the future where I knew that I was going to be a little bit more confident. And yeah, just book some people in.
All right. So I guess to start with, you're already attracting people because you'd already built a little bit of brand, and you're already putting that content out. And then, you're having discovery calls anyway, partly because of that content, because you're already doing stuff with, breath work or, chatting to people who are having a hard time. And then I guess that's that key bit of kind of saying, hey, I'm not available until this date. I'm pretty busy. When you're certified, or you're pretty confident that you'll be able to deliver.
Well, it was that, but I was also working at the time as well. So,
right.
What was the point? Like, I mean, a 3-month-old baby at the top, 2-3-month-old baby, working full time, trying to then squeeze clients in. So it was a bit of a juggle. But that's where, once I started getting some, I would book people in at like 4 or 5 p.m, but not knowing that I didn't want to be working every single night and day. It then started really chunking into my daytime at the job. And I just, in the end, had to say, like, I'm too busy here. I need to quit. But yeah, so it was kind of putting them in where I had spots, and into the future. But yeah, eventually it just started taking up a lot more of my days, which was a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you, for that first kind of client, I mean, did you ever have any kind of like, I've never done this stuff with a client before, how can I charge people money for it?
Yeah. I was, the money side of it for me was, I guess a barrier, a block that I had. And it was honestly just the value that I had in myself. I just didn't believe in myself. So I think being able to overcome that belief was big. And I think that was the main barrier for me, because like I'd charge like $1,500 to go and speak for an hour at businesses. So like I had belief in that, but it was just because I hadn't done this style of coaching that I just didn't believe, because I didn't know what the outcome was that I was going to have. And I did realize, actually, once I had started coaching and ran through a few sessions with people, I then had so much more belief in my value, so that when I was on the discovery calls, there was so much more confidence in being able to into whatever was going to suit them. So there was definitely that barrier. But I also had, I had Luke and I had Georgie just saying, you need to charge like minimum $1,500 for this, like minimum, because what I didn't realize, it wasn't just the value within myself, but people are going out and people go out, whatever they want to do on their nights out, like spending, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, like for what? So I think once I started to realize some people, some of the problems that people are coming to me with, it's been a lifelong problem, or for as long as they can remember. And they might not be aware of how much it's impacting. Like they may say that it's just, oh, like I just broken a detrimental way. So I think once I really understood that as well, it really sunk in that, yeah, like I can easily charge this for it. And also it's just the commitment from them will get that change. Like I've honestly had people that I'll book in and I won't see them for a month, but by the time they've start that first session, they've already made so many changes because they made that decision to invest in themselves, both time and money.
Absolutely. I used to crew / sell for a different personal development company, and part of our script that we'd say after someone had purchased is that, if I can remember pretty close to word for word, it would be like, now you may start to notice things in your life that don't work or don't work as well as you'd like them to. And that's normal. And it's because you've actually committed to actually making changes in your life. And now things will show up and change.
100%.
And yeah, man, I love that. I know for myself, I've definitely experienced that.
Yeah, you could try this one. So it's like, yeah, you book them a month in advance, pay the money, get that sorted. They tell you that and you say, hey, my work's done. Don't even need a session.
That's right. It's the best dollars per hour rate ever.
It's all you needed to do was just make the decision to change and your life changes.
Yeah, 100%.
There you go.
It's even like, I don't know, there's so much to be said for that when it comes to change. Even like I know like some fitness goals and that I've had in the past, and like when I ran my first marathon, and when my training really kicked in was when the screen popped up saying confirmed your spot, when you put down the money and it's like, yep, booking confirmed. Yeah. That on this day you're booked in to run 42 kilometers.
You're doing it.
And you're like,
this is happening.
This is happening. It's like, holy moly, this is real. I've got to get fit.
Yeah. It's like holidays. Like, you know, you put down the money, you book your flights, and it's happening. But until you do it, it's just a dream.
Yeah, 100%.
Just a dream.
So you got those couple clients from after doing neurotransformation therapy.
Yeah.
What then like happened for you? Like it's a big step up going from neurotransformation to inner circle. It's not just like, you know, oh yeah, sure, I'll join.
Yeah. I think from the start, I knew that I wanted to be within a circle more so from the accountability. I think it's one thing that I have. I'm very ambitious. I'm very motivated, but I can lose track at times of what I'm doing. And yeah, if I get off the rails, I guess that can roll into a few weeks worth where, I really saw the value from that side in the accountability. But I guess, to from the starting point, as I said, like I was booking in, one a day or whatever I could. And then that started to move, backwards and really started to fill up the calendar. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just knew that I wanted some guidance and to be around other people that were, that had successful businesses, successful coaching businesses, and to be able to learn from them and really grow within that group. So I saw so much value within that from day one. So I knew that it was always a point that I wanted to be able to get to, that I could afford to join, knowing that it was really going to help my business.
Yeah. It's still, I mean, maybe this wasn't for you, but for most people, committing the time and the money is a big thing. Was there like, was there objections for you there in terms of like, oh, don't do that, it's a lot of money, can't afford it, especially with a young family?
There was at the start, and I would say it was more so like the objection around money was more of a problem for neurotransformation therapy, because I first spoke with Luke, I think it was back November, and So our baby was due in December. So the other factor of that, like my partner Danny is a photographer that mainly does weddings, and like she was obviously going to need some time off, and she was at that point generating majority of our household income. So like I wasn't earning that much. So it was a really big decision to first join neurotransformation therapy, because it was kind of money that we didn't really have. We both knew that I was going to do it, but it was once again just committing to actually doing it got that forward momentum. But then I guess within a circle, it was something that, like I was about to have a discussion with her, like, I don't know if she knows, but I'd already committed to Luke. I'd said yes. But I then went downstairs to have a chat with her thinking, like, I don't know how we're going to be able to come up with this, like how we're going to be able to do it. And as soon as I spoke to her about it, she was just like, yeah, you're in, you're doing it. So I think from seeing the initial results, and although I still had bigger goals in what I wanted to be able to earn, the people that I wanted to be able to work with, and the way that I wanted to deliver what I was delivering, there was just so much belief in, well, it's working. And now the more knowledge and the more support that I can get, it's only going to build my business. So there wasn't really an objection with that. It was more just trust in Luke and also myself that I can make it work. And yeah, it's interesting because it was the smaller amount that was more difficult to process than the larger amount. I remember
they're different conversations.
Yeah.
And like it's actually really interesting, and you'll experience this if you haven't experienced it already, that the conversations when it comes to sales, from selling someone into like a $1,000, $2,000, up to like $5,000 product, that conversation is a very different style of conversation compared to the kind of people that, you end up talking to when you're talking about like, $10, $15, $20, $30, $40,000.
Yeah.
They're very different style of convos.
For sure.
Yeah. And it's like, I know for myself, especially when I was even smaller amounts, when I was a PT, it blew my mind. I started off PTing and I was charging, $25 a session. And at that rate, it was a battle signing people up.
Yeah.
I'm like $25 an hour for an hour. I'm like, God damn.
Man. Like the amount of free things that I was doing. Like I used to do so many like free talks, or drive all over the place and do free things, and you'd get like hardly anyone there, or people would register and not rock up. They just didn't value it. And the more money that's invested, the more energy that's put into it. And it may narrow or cancel out some people that can't necessarily afford at that particular time. But yeah, the more you put down, the more energy and the more you've got invested.
I'm a really, really big advocate for charging more.
Yeah.
It's like, since this experience I had, I swear it's like ingrained in my soul, because when I, as a PT, eventually I got up to charging $250 for a session. And it was hardly any objections. And I was like, what is happening?
Because it's people that value it, hey?
Like, yeah, everyone was just like, sounds good. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And that, coming back to that initial, it was the belief in how much I can charge based on who I thought my conversations were with and how much they may perceive it as. But once I began to realize how much this is going to transform people's lives, it's like, it's priceless.
100%. 100%. Yeah. And that's why I always say, when it comes to like niche and solving a problem, like pretty much more niche, the better. And the more complex and longer the problem has been around that you're solving, the better.
Yeah.
Like if someone has had a problem for like 10 years and they've tried to solve it in lots of ways, already spent money trying to solve it, the chances is that they will spend a lot more money to solve it because it hasn't been solved by the cheap things.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so
for sure.
Yeah. So in terms of now, what's your rough? I know it's like, you know, a challenging thing to sometimes, like ups and downs all over the shop. What's your rough revenue that you're doing at the moment in your business, say, per month?
Yeah, so the last few months I've been doing between sort of 10 and 20 per month. Like the goal's been 20. I don't think I haven't cracked it yet, but yeah, it's been 10 to 15, I'd say, per month over the last few months.
Yeah, cool. So I'd love to hear what's working great for you at the moment. What's bringing in the leads, and what's working great when it comes to you know, getting them on the phone. What's working well in sales? What's working well in product delivery? All of that.
Yeah, sure. So I'd say, like, I guess lead wise, and look, I still don't get as many as I would like. It's probably just been, I guess, content number one for me. It's helpful having a photographer as a partner, so I don't have to try and take selfies, but that helps. But then I'm just like, and it's up on my board, like one of my daily standards is be authentic. And I just try to be as authentic as I possibly can, to speak my mind, to speak my truth and my challenges. And I think that's like when I'm writing my content, it's very much trying to, I think what I used to do was talk about other people, whereas now it's talking about myself because I know that that's relatable for people. So, and I understand that for some people, you may be coaching, or like some people coach in areas that they may not have necessarily had that particular problem or challenge. But I guess for me, that's one of the things that really works, because I can just speak about how, one, I experienced it, but then two, I guess what's worked for me to manage it or overcome it. So that really helps. I think the main strategy that I've been using is just mainly through Instagram. I do a little bit through Facebook and LinkedIn as well. I did have a pretty big LinkedIn network when I was running my previous business. But yeah, Instagram for me, the content, and then just honestly, like just talking to people, like anyone that's followed me, anyone that is liking my posts, it's just speaking to them. And generally what I'm finding is most of the guys that I chat to, just by saying, like, you know, like, hey, how's things? And genuinely just asking them how they are. Like, it's not necessarily like sitting there and hoping. It's like, oh, I hope like they're real fucked up and they want to work with me. Like, it's, they just start talking. And generally, because I've been so open in my content, they feel like they already know me a little bit. And they're just opening up and just saying,
look, is that through DMs? Is it through direct messaging?
Yeah, just direct messaging. So I've just, anyone that follows me or that's commenting, are just sort of, reaching out and just asking how they are. And generally, most of them have been saying, like, oh, I love your content. This really resonates. And a lot of people just go into, look, I relate with this, or I'm experiencing this. And so for me, it's just finding out like how much of an issue it's been for them. So I generally would just ask, like, how long has this been an issue, or how long has this been a challenge for you? They might say forever. And that's where I just offer them, well, look, let me help you with this. Let's jump on a call and chat about what's blocking you and where I could help. And if it's a good fit, we can work together. Like, I'm pretty upfront with it, and just get people to book in a call, jump on the calls with them. And the calls for me, I feel like what I've been finding is, early days, I was probably a little bit more desperate in, I want to get a client. And I was still closing pretty well, but now I get a good vibe on people. I do all of my calls through Zoom, so people can see me, they can, feel my energy. Yeah. And like, there's been some people that I'm on calls with, and I just say to them straight out, look, I don't think I'm the right fit for you. I don't feel that my program's the right fit. This is where you could go. And I give them advice, because although they may have a problem that I potentially could I potentially could help them with. I just feel that if I'm not truly connected with them, I feel like my energy just won't match, and I won't be able to get them the results they desire. So I'm just very honest and open on those calls. And if I do feel that I can help someone and I do connect, then I'm letting them know that, you know, I'm here for them, but they need to commit to themselves and commit to the change. So if they're ready for it, I can serve them and I can give them the tools. And my job, I feel, is to really empower them to find the answers within. And that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah. So this actually is great. I love talking about sales because it's what I used to do as well. That I don't know, there was a time that I used to do a lot more kind of, when I was in the sales space, you'd call it probably harder sales. But what I found, you know, towards the kind of the end of when I stopped doing sales, it seemed to work really, really well to have a really, I guess you call it like a really soft close, and just, basically what you said in terms of, look, I think I can really help you with what you're going through. And it's up to you, you know, you can keep doing what you're doing if you want, and that's cool. And if you do want to move forward, we can.
I'll tell you a short little story, because in my sales, like I worked in direct sales, like home, and a lot of home improvement products. And man, the companies that I worked for, their training, like I wasn't leaving until they either kicked me out or they've got a bloody signed agreement. And it was full on. Like there was not blues, but arguments sometimes, and like people like, get out of my house, because I was like trying to handle the objections, and as you do, but like I wasn't taking no for an answer, but sometimes it just didn't suit. So it was full on. But I think that's with the approach now, it's very much that, and understanding a lot of guys come to me, they have self-worth issues or they've got low confidence. So if I'm it's completely up to you, then of course they're not going to do it, because they don't have the confidence that they'll get the results, or they don't have the confidence that they can commit, or whatever it is. So I can be a bit firmer in that, in saying, like, you've already told me your self-confidence is low. You've told me that your self-worth has been an issue for your entire life. I'm here to help, and like, it's up to you whether you're ready for the change. But you've already said, if you're not ready for the change, because basically through the process, I'm trying to get rid of all of the no's. And that's been my sales process. It's what are the no's that are going to come up, and get those little yeses the whole way along. So the way that I've been taught, the only objection then really can be the money at the end. So I will go through everything, basically waiting for them to say, I'm in, before I've even discussed how much it is. 100%.
No, and it's a really, really great. I don't know who I've learned that similar kind of process of working to eliminate objections before they are objections. You know, it's I got the analogy because I actually did some pretty intensive training with the companies that I work for. Like, I went to a sales manager conference over in Las Vegas and had like speakers come in that were, tens of thousands of dollars that they were paying to get in. And the analogy that I got taught, it's like, this is, most young people won't even know this, but Get Smart, or Maxwell Smart, when he's walking through and closing all of the doors behind him. So it's like that in the sales process. You're just closing all of those doors so that people can't get out. But then at the end, it really comes down to you, as in, do I want to work with this person? Do I want to offer them my service? And if it's yes, there you go. Otherwise, it's catch you later. 100%. It's like flipping the script. Super, super powerful. So yeah, man, that's incredible. I love that. So what else? What's next for your? What's the next evolution for you and for the business? And where next over the next 12 months?
Yeah, I've really identified like who I want to work with now, and in what capacity. So I think for me, it's really being able to create that my own inner circle of guys that I really want to work with on a consistent basis. And So yeah, creating a longer format program, because right now I'm working with 6-week programs. So it's creating a 6 or a 12-month option. And really excited to be able to do that, because once again, it's people that are willing to invest a lot more in themselves to get the results they want. And it's not necessarily going from 0 to 100. It's those 1%ers. And that's really the people that I want to work with, that are super motivated to just get those little hacks and consistency, and be within that environment that everyone's just there to help each other just grow that little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, creating that, I'm super excited to be able to do. Getting back into podcasting and talking about some pretty unique topics. I'm quite out there, as you can maybe see with my San Pedro cactus behind me.
I love it, mate. I love it.
Yeah, so a lot, like for me, it's like I've got it's interest outside of this type of stuff, but yeah, interest within alternative healing, all sorts, like conspiracies, yeah, just alternative thinking, because like at the end of the day, and this will be a weird one, but like, who says that this is reality? Like I love watching The Matrix, right?
It's simulation. We're in simulation, aren't we?
How do we know that this is reality right now? Like, so anyway, you can go pretty deep with that sort of stuff, but that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah, it's a whole like deep can of worms, but it's something that I ponder every now and then as well, around like, you know, I guess because of my background in engineering as well, I'm like, I think about some of the things that we're doing now with, you know, even just your phone, right?
Yeah.
And increasing in pixel density and quality of images, right? And like, it's very interesting when you think about, how is it that you perceive whether something is real or not? Right? And this is getting really deep, but it's like, we basically have a series of tests of our reality. And really that is that our senses line up with each other, right? That what we see through one sensory input and what we feel and what we hear is all like in alignment. But it's like especially because I used to be a big gamer when I was younger, and I'm like, with the move into like things like virtual reality and augmented realities, I'm like, if that's step one, what about like your eyes, for instance? That's just purely a sensory tool. Like a thermometer is a sensory tool for determining temperature, right? You have it's called a CCD in your camera, which is it stands for a charged coupled device, which basically picks up photons from light and turns them into an electrical signal. And based on the frequency of those photons or the color of that light, i.e., it builds the picture. Right? They're all just sensory inputs. And so what happens if you just bypass that? And if you attach just straight into your central nervous system an input that feeds into your vision, inputs into your hearing, inputs into your sense of smell, how do you perceive the difference between reality and artificially generated signal?
Oh, no idea. And that's why I love The Matrix, because it questions all of that.
Nice, straight in.
Yeah. Need to look up Human 2.0. Yeah. Yeah, that's a topic.
People watching this podcast are going to be like,
what happened? Like, what? Now they're talking about this shit.
I love it, mate. I got some questions that the boys on the team wanted me to fire at you.
Oh yeah.
They're totally unrelated, but kind of relate to what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
So it's the old rapid fire section.
Okay, let's do it.
So 10 questions. I think there's 10 to.
All right, I'm gonna close my eyes for it.
About that, right? Well, some of them are slightly longer form, but here we go. So, when you're not working, how do you like to spend your time?
Relaxing, just chilling. I'm a chiller.
What do you do to chill?
So it's either with Indy, little baby, or I play a fair amount of video games. I love 2K. That's probably my distraction. Beach walks, nature walks, anything we can do to get outside. Cold exposure enthusiast. So I love sitting in my ice bath or getting into something cold, which is probably the definition of chilling.
Literally.
But honestly, I just love relaxing. Because I'm very intense with what I do. So when I'm outside of that, it's complete shut off and just relax.
Yeah. What are you currently reading?
Oh, currently reading Holotropic Breathwork by the founders. It was Groff, Grof. Audiobook I'm listening to, but get through one most weeks.
Nice. What if you have? What's the first concert you attended?
First concert I reckon was, I booked tickets for Red Hot Chili Peppers, but didn't go for some reason. The first one I attended, I think, was Kanye West.
Kanye, I love it.
I think so. I've seen him twice actually, but
really?
Not really a fan. No. Just did it to fit in.
Oh, mate.
But he was actually pretty good.
I love it. On the previous kind of topic of what's your favorite book?
Favorite book, I love 5 a.m. Club and the principles within it. So yeah, adapted them into my life. So love 5 a.m. Club. Love the book Breath by James Nestor. Goes into a lot of different breathing methods and really how it's helped a lot of people with all sorts of, whether it's autoimmune diseases or rare conditions, be able to completely remove it. So yeah, those two absolutely love. And one other one that's probably had a big impact as well was Tim Ferriss's, what's it called?
Not 4 Hour Work Week? Or...
4 Hour Work Week.
Oh yeah. Cool. I was going to say, he's got a few.
Yeah, he does have a few. But I used to listen to his podcast a lot, and that's probably what got me into podcasts as well. But yeah, so those three, I'd say.
This is a pretty odd one, but I'm curious.
Ooh.
I don't even know how I'd answer this initially. What's your favorite word?
My favorite word. Well, I'm just going to go with what was coming to me. My favorite, it was love was coming to me. So,
oh mate, there we go.
That's all I got for you.
What was your first job?
McDonald's. Yeah,
hey.
I barely worked. Like they put me on the Friday, Saturday shifts, and yeah, probably 15. I just wanted to go to parties and drink my 4-pack of Woodstocks or whatever, you know. So the amount of sickies I pulled, but yeah, Macca's. Taught me everything I know.
Are you religious or spiritual?
Spiritual.
Love it. What is one thing you're excited about coming up in 2022?
One thing I'm excited about. I would say. Probably being able to hear my daughter start talking. Yeah. That's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah,
so pretty excited to I just love, honestly, just love the bond and connection that we have. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing her growth and development.
Yeah, it's amazing. Favorite song? Kanye?
Ooh, no. Well, no, I wouldn't say it's Kanye. I really like I like acoustic numbers. So there's a couple, and one odd one that I would say is Gajumaru by Yama. Y-A-I-M-A. It's a beautiful song. It's a really great song to meditate to. So that one, it's a bit of a unique and weird one. But otherwise, probably go back to I used to love Chili Peppers growing up. So like an Under the Bridge, and love the meaning behind songs. So yeah,
love that. Last one, mate. This is I wanted to make this my last one.
Alrighty.
This is fun. So if you're given a chance to explore the oceans, go to outer space, or visit 50 different countries, which one would you choose and why?
I mean, I'd love to do all three, but I think space for me is, really what is out there? What is out there? It's just beyond imagination. So I would love to be able to just, explore the unknown.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. Very good. Well, actually, before I finish it up, I should ask the most important part of this whole thing. Where can people find you?
Instagram mainly, so just Luke Mclean with a couple of underscores at the end of it, and connect there. Otherwise, if not on there, Facebook or LinkedIn, just both via my name, and that's where you can get me.
I love it. Perfect. Any last words of wisdom before I stop the recording?
Well, that just comes back to Wim Hof, I think, and his message of just breathe, motherfucker.
I love it. Oh man, on that, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you, Luke Mclean.
Well, thanks for having me, brother.
Mate. And everyone else, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on another episode.